Hello and welcome to the 2016 North America Spring Championships live from the Avalon in Hollywood. I am Playoff Beard here with Xingyi and Rome, and this is it, the pinnacle of the entire spring season. Hundreds of teams have fought through qualifier brackets for the right to be here, and we are down to the final 8. This is a 3-day affair. Let's take a look at the overview for this tournament. Day 1, we're going to have higher seeds versus lower seeds. Day 2 will be elimination day. Both of these days are double elimination, and then we move into day 3 where we will decide the North America champion. Now, as we start to take a look at what we have in store today, important to know that all games will be played on Update 117. That certainly has meta implications. And as we take a look at the day's brackets, first, we have Hammers Velocity, the qualifier champions, against the number 8 seed, Phoenix Reborn. We move to a very interesting matchup between a team that came very close to being the number 1 seed, Phoenix Rain, against Noble Esport. All the ghouls and ghoulettes out there will be rooting for Xenotech, all his stream fans. Then we move to the match that's the one that the community thinks might be the upset special of the day. We'll talk about that more as we get on, which is Team Solomid against Nemesis Hydra, and then Hammers Kinetic against Liberation X in what might be a grudge match. Xingyi, so much talent here, so many teams that could win it all.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. You know, every season the bar is getting higher and higher, and I don't think anyone here could call a clear winner at this stage, and I think that just goes to show the quality of games that we'll be seeing over the next 3 days.
Yeah, it's so interesting talking to the players in the back. A lot of different teams being talked about as the team to beat, a lot of different teams that could potentially pull through. Rome, thinking about the day's matchups, what stands out to you?
Yeah, the first and the third game will have to be like, you do have Velocity, like everybody knows them going up against Reborn, one of the underdog teams, but I feel like this team has something special planned for them.
All right, so first match of the day is the number 1 overall seed, Hammers Velocity, against the number 8 seed, Phoenix Reborn. If there is a David and Goliath matchup of the day, this might be it, Xingyi. It's going to be an uphill battle for this Phoenix Reborn team, but they're going to do what they can. Let's first talk about Hammers Velocity, and all the talk usually is about Dienzio. He is this rising star, this young, amazing player, but overall a very well-rounded team.
Yeah, every single one of these players are outstanding in what they do, and Dienzio, we all talk about him. He is the star laner. He was the talk of the winter season championships, and we've got Vanes and Aloha who do an excellent job of frontlining for him, providing this impenetrable defense that makes it very difficult for the enemies to find a flaw in their gameplay.
Now, Rome, while we always are talking about Dienzio with good reason, on the big stage in tournaments like this, it's often Aloha who's putting up the numbers.
Yeah, and this goes throughout the entire jungle pair that they have going on for Velocity. Like, Vanes plays a pivotal role for the entire team, and with him syncing up with Aloha in that jungle, we can expect them to be very demanding, very controlling of how the rotations are done.
Yeah, this team expects to win, very confident coming in. It's going to be interesting to see how they perform right off the top, especially with Dienzio. Gets to be on the stage for the first time. I'm sure that's nice for him. Now, the number 8 seed, yes, a lot of Dienzio fans in the house, especially when he gets on a hyper carry like Vox and is making those plays. Now, their opponent, the number 8 seed, Phoenix Reborn. Xingyi, this is a team with a very interesting story.
Yeah, they've had quite a journey. So this is their 3rd competitive season together. And, you know, this is the first time they've made it into the championships, but this is going to be their last time as Skojin and God of Sins. This is their senior year, and they will be moving, they'll be going on to go into the military. So this is their last chance to try and make it.
Oh, well, we certainly thank them for their service, but for 3 players who have been playing together for so long, trying to get to the championship stage for so long, now they basically have one shot at it, because after this, they're not going to be able to play competitively anymore, at least not as this threesome. So it's a lot of pressure on them to try to make this moment count, Rome.
Yeah, but I do feel like they are going to go into this match with a lot of hidden cards, whereas with Velocity, you can easily predict what they're going to try and play, what their kind of rotations and how their compositions are built. Whereas Reborn, I feel like they have a lot of things that are like especially planned to go up against their opponents today.
Now, if there is a silver lining for Reborn, it's that they have had success in the past throughout the qualifiers, taking away the opponent's top player. And when they eliminate that player, they kind of get the team off of their game, find a way to win. That's how they made it into the top 8. Is that something they can do today?
Yeah, I feel like they do have a lot of things planned ahead of time. And going up against, like, you know, number 1 seed, Velocity, they have a bunch of compositions they have planned ahead of time, and they know exactly how they will execute this.
All right, so with that, let's meet these teams with a quick video and then right back.
Team Phoenix Reborn doesn't really have a threat to us in tomorrow's matchups, but we are scared of what they might pick. We know starting all over, he's strong on a hero, and we don't want him to get that, but that's pretty much it.
We're being known as the underdog. But I feel like we have a good chance at competing in this tournament. A lot of people don't really know what Phoenix Reborn is. They don't know what we play because we haven't had much experience out in the competitive scenes. But we can use that to our advantage because people don't know us. We can go out and surprise them.
I think we have an advantage over Team Phoenix because Zio is a better laner and he has more map awareness, and we have a better synergy in team fights.
I think as the best player, definitely Dienzio, their laner. He definitely brings their strong backbone to their team, and he definitely what makes Velocity.
I think the best player in Phoenix Reborn is starting over. He's a really good mechanics, and his caster is really good.
As a 1 seed, I'm very confident. I think we're going to 2-0 them and move on to the next day.
Hammer's Velocity, being that they're the #1 seed, for us, it doesn't really matter. Both teams are starting off with the same amount of gold. We both have different strategies going along. For us, I think we have an equal shot at it.
We definitely do have a few ideas and a few tricks up our sleeve that we are going to definitely have to pull out, considering since it is the 1st seed and we are the 8th seed, and being the underdogs, we do have a lot to prove to people.
We're always catching people off. Like people will think that, hey, we're gonna draft this certain way because that's like the generic draft that everyone does. But then we throw a curveball and we throw in like another hero.
I think my team has a better shot call than Phoenix Reborn because of Veins, and we are mechanically better than them. So we're pretty confident, yeah.
And if we just rotate together, we're fine because I think we out-mechanic them. Like, we have better mechanics, so we'll just destroy them.
We definitely like to co-shot call. We have different people that look at different situations as far as part of that shot call. I think that is definitely going to help us than having their one shot caller on their team. Yeah, we definitely can beat Velocity.
Right, so some smack talk right there out of the very young, very confident Dienzio, but Xingyi, he does have the goods to back it up.
Yeah, well, they're the #1 seed. Hammer's Velocity are looking better than ever. The they finished 3rd in Qualifier 1 and 1st in Qualifier 2. They can do no wrong right now.
All right, so they do have a reason to be so confident, but also giving Phoenix Reborn some bulletin board material. With that, Rome, who is your player to watch in this series for Hammer's Velocity?
Yeah, just based on the interview itself, it has to be Dienzio. Just looking at him in the way that he picks those hyper carries and he knows how to fulfill his role in that mid to late game, and he just depends on his team to make that road a lot easier for him in that early.
Yeah, he certainly does. Phoenix Reborn now. Xingyi, who would you say is the player to keep an eye on?
It's going to be starting all over. So he has had, he's been here for a while. He's had a few different names, but we all know him as a very consistent and high standard laner. And I really like that he tends to go for these off-meta heroes, and I have a lot of respect for that.
All right, so we'll have to see if he can hold his own here. One other side note, they do have a very important sub in the Big Dog contributing to their draft strategy. The draft is just a moment away, a well-rounded team, and if they need to, they can also switch things up. Let's go into the draft now for match 1. This is a best of 3, again, playing on 117, and no surprise that Adagio is off the board right away, Rome.
Yeah, Adagio is like one of the most common picks throughout these top tiers, and just being able to elevate him to like open up your game style with that buff composition, the push comp, it works too good. People have to get him out of that picture.
Oh, but Xingyi, they take away the Black Feather, leave open the Fortress. This is the 117 meta pick.
Yeah, Fortress is so strong right now. He can apply that Morsel Wound, and if he releases an attack of pack at a very well-timed moment, he can wreck in a team fight.
All right, so Rome, looks like they're going to lock in a Glaive. What do you think, though? All right, so and a Scarf. And we know if you get past 17 minutes, Scarf's win record on 117 is off the charts, Rome.
Yeah, I do like the composition coming out of Reborn so far. They took Black Feather away from Dienzio, and to secure that Glaive, they now have a lot of movement room in that early game.
All right, we'll have to see what they want to do now that they've got that puzzle piece in Fortress. So powerful for forcing objective fights, really doing what they want, and it's a Sky.
Well, with this guy pick. They do have a lot of mobility. They do have that ability to actually make those transitions. As long as they're very engaging, they can push that jungle out from Reborn.
Xingyi, this isn't EU, but it is a crawl.
I'm a big fan of this, especially paired with that Fortress. So Fortress, I said before, does the mortal wound. Cruel has those weakness stacks. Together, he can mitigate the damage, being outputted by the Glaive and Scarf, and Fortress will reduce the healing as well. I think this is a very potent combination.
All right, it is an Arden to round it out. We're ready for match 1 with the call. It's Humanist and Zekan.
Thank you, Playoff Beard. I'm Zeke, and with me here is Humanist, and this is going to be a fantastic first match. I'm very much looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I'm excited. Those player videos got me pretty hyped as well. A little bit of trash talk in there, but these guys are having fun. And yeah, I think this draft is going to be for an exciting game.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting because on the side of Hammers, they have the Sky, they have the Cruel. They're really going to go in on that Scarf, and if Scarf gets taken down, a lot of the damage coming out from Phoenix is not there.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a positioning game, and can you get those stacks up on that Broken Myth? Can you find those kills? We have the game started, guys. Everybody making their way out onto their respective positions on the map. And Zekan, how do you expect this lane to match up here?
This lane is going to be very interesting because Scarf versus Sky is really a skill-based matchup. If Scarf can land those Spitfires, if he can get those Fan the Flame stacks up, Sky can go down very easily. But if Zio on that Sky is able to outmaneuver starting all over, it's going to be a very one-sided battle.
Yeah, definitely. And we see him starting with that crystal bit there. Sometimes it's a weapon blade early on, but Zio's just right into that crystal power.
Yeah, really relying on that early damage from the forward barrage. The weapon blade does work, but a little bit more damage coming out from the forward barrage is always good.
Oh, it definitely is. And maybe an early engagement. The flares are out. They see each other, but it looks like Phoenix Reborn are going to back up, not ready to start a fight just yet.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting in the jungle because with the Fortress, you mitigate a lot of Cruel's early game weakness. He's not the greatest at level 1, but once he hits like level 6, level 8, he's a fantastic jungler. But right now, they're just relying on Fortress to get him through that point.
Yeah, they definitely are. And, you know, Phoenix Reborn hanging out around this lane, and it means Dienzio is going to feel a lot of pressure. But this is one of the things they talked about. If they can take one of the key players out of this game, that's how they feel they'll win.
Yeah, this is a very smart play coming out from Phoenix Reborn. They have God of Sins on that Glaive. He's in the enemy jungle, but there's no way they can catch him. He has the After, and he can easily get out from almost anything that he wants to, unless he might be caught a little bit right here.
Oh, God of Sins, did you stay too long? Let's see, it's going to be the Vanguard from his buddy Skojan to get him out of here. They turned around, starting all over here. Nice rotation from Phoenix Reborn. Who's going to go down first? Fight off to the west, off to the east, and it's going to be first blood for Hammer's Velocity. Veins will fall, now 1-1, and starting all over, he's in a bad place. The Vanguard buys him a little bit of time, but he goes down. Now Dienzio, can he get out? Forward barrage as he backs up, and it looks like Skojan will go down as well. 3 kills to Hammer's Velocity. 3-1 in 2 minutes.
Yeah, and that was a fantastic engagement coming out from the side of Hammer's Velocity. They were able to take advantage of the fact that God of Sins was caught on his own. He took a huge amount of damage in the fight before the fight even started, and that really let Hammer's Velocity snowball that fight.
Yeah, it definitely did. I mean, at some point, they're going to have to make the decision. Just let him try to get a couple back camps on his own. But if you rotate, you really have to secure that fight.
Yeah, one thing to watch out for, though, is with that Glaive pick on God of Sins and the Arden, starting all over is going to have a lot of peel coming out for him against this Scroll, against this Fortress. It's really going to be up to Dienzio to lock down both the melees and then take out Scarf.
Yeah, it definitely will. And, you know, both of these teams actually scale fairly well. What's your preference in the scaling of these teams?
Honestly, as you said, they both do scale extremely well into the mid to late game. They have the Scarf on the side of Phoenix Reborn, who is, as everyone knows, a late game monster. But the Sky and the Cruel, they can easily take out the front line of Phoenix Reborn.
Yeah, they can. They do have those gap closers. And Hammer's Velocity hanging out around the lane. They're going to jump on the starting all over. Can they secure us? The forward barrage is going to be here. And pretty easy kill for Dienzio if he can get it all. Dienzio. Oh, what is a mercy call from Dienzio. Starting all over. We'll appreciate that.
Yeah, I turned it around a little bit too soon. Maybe a little bit of stage jitters. But that was still a fantastic game coming out from Hammers. They were able to basically chunk out starting all over. And he's not going to be able to stay around this lane for too much longer.
No, he can't. And if he stays around, he has to respect his opponents here. If he moves forward at all, it'd be a pretty easy kill. A Vanguard from Skojan buys him a little bit more time. And they're just kind of poking back and forth. And it looks right now, Hammer's Velocity will move down into this jungle shop.
Yeah, gold looks pretty even, but this is actually a little bit dangerous for a side of Reborn because Hammer's Velocity, they have control of the lane right now. They're able to wander around the jungle as a 3-man group and just get down the vision wherever they want.
Yeah, speaking of vision, the flare's in the bush. God of Sins, you're going to have to get out of here, buddy. He's eating a lot of damage. And once it kind of reminiscent of the last fight, he's down to 60% health so quickly.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of damage unnecessarily, I feel. He's going deep into the enemy side, and whenever Hammers rotates back up, whenever they catch him off guard, they're just doing a huge amount of damage to him. He's already down to 600.
Yeah, and you know, Phoenix Reborn, one of the cool things that I liked about this team when we talked with them, they've been around a long time, played through the previous seasons, and now just making it here, I feel like they have a lot to prove to themselves.
Yeah, I think they are a very strong lineup coming in. They might not have the experience that the other teams do have, but they come up with a lot of interesting picks.
Yeah, they definitely do. And now a little bit of aggression here. Hammer's Velocity going to steal away some camps from Phoenix Reborn. And you know, as you said, Zeke, and it does feel that Hammer's Velocity do have the control when it comes to movement around the mid area of this map.
Right. However, one thing to note is that DNZO is actually falling a little bit behind in CS. He's at 32 compared to Starting All Over's 43. And on that Scarf, if he gets to that 15, 16 minute mark, he is going to be absolutely terrifying to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, you get to that mark, decent farm, it's going to be very scary indeed. Kraken coming out on the map around that time as well. It's just, it's all about who hits those power spikes.
Right, and right now, DNZO, he's getting pretty strong right now. He needs to that level 6. He wants to get that death from above. And once he has that alongside Loha's from Hell's Heart, it's going to be very dangerous for anyone who's caught out on Phoenix Reborn.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're able to combo that up, they're going to be able to take out, I assume, any target they want, which will probably be the Scarf earlier than later in the fight.
Yeah, as long as the Scarf goes down, I think Hammers has it. But if he's able to stay alive, and especially with the amount of peel that they are bringing on the side of Phoenix Reborn, they should be able to keep him alive for fairly long in these engagements.
All right, well, DNZO getting ever closer to that level 6. We're almost 6 minutes into this game right now. Hammer's Velocity, a very small net worth lead, but they do have that kill advantage at this point. Moving forward, what would you like to see out of Phoenix Reborn here?
I think Phoenix Reborn is actually playing this extremely well. They just need to stall the game, wait until it hits mid to late, and they should have advantages. But right now, I would really like to see Hammer's Velocity make some moves. They really need to catch Starting All Over off guard. They need to control the jungle a little bit more, especially with the amount of power they have right now.
All right, well, let's see if they can get it done. Goddess Sens, I mean, he is very far forward, kind of aggressive position, but it's going along what you're saying. They're buying more time for Scarf to continue to farm, to not get bullied out of lane. If they were not positioned there, it would be so easy to just send Starting All Over right back to base.
Yeah, one thing to watch out for is if Aloha gets anywhere near like a couple items, like he needs 2, 3 tier 3 items, and he will absolutely wreck the front line of Phoenix Reborn. Scarf Sins will not be able to fight him one-on-one, and even with Skojin by his side, it will still be difficult to take down that Kroll.
Yeah, I mean, it's a terrible thing when you're fighting a Kroll like that. You want to just burst him down as long as he's able to get those Spectral Smite stacks up. It can be a terrible fight for you. And it looks like right now Hammer's Velocity, they're going to be content to go ahead and secure this gold mine.
Yeah, I don't really think Phoenix Reborn really wants to take this fight. They just need to sit back and farm as much as they can. If they are able to secure objectives for themselves, it's fantastic, but they really do not want to fight Hammer's Velocity in the open right now.
Right, well, they do move down. Flair's going to give vision of that scout trap. Goddessens is doing what he can to keep up with the farm here. But it does feel like Aloha is getting a small advantage, and I don't know if that's how you see it playing out.
It's actually pretty even right now. Goddessens, he's sitting at 37 CS, but it's a little bit expected that Glaive gets a little bit more CS than Kroll, but it isn't actually happening and playing out that way. Starting All Over is actually getting most of the farm on his team, so I think they might be relying a little bit more on getting that Scarf to the late game.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll see if maybe Glaive goes a little more utility build. I mean, he has his reflex block, and he's building into his first tier 3 item there for his weapon power. I'm very curious to see how he builds out, though.
Yeah, it does look like Hammer's Velocity really wants to look for some engagements. Right now, they do have the Death from Above on DNZO. They have the From Hell's Heart ready on Aloha, and once Vayne's hit 6, we can expect to see some engagements.
Yeah, I mean, that ultimate on Fortress, that just spells go, 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 as long as they have it and they're in good position. And right now, Hammer's Velocity actually just claiming the jungle of Phoenix Reborn for their own, moving through, looking to clear out scout traps, get any vision they can. And Phoenix Reborn, they are in a kind of dangerous position. Starting All Over, eats a little bit of forward barrage damage, but they're going to quickly move back and just trade jungles with Hammer's Velocity here.
Yeah, this is just going very well for Phoenix Reborn at the moment. They are just constantly dancing around Hammer's Velocity. Hammer's Velocity is unable to catch them off guard, but it still allows Hammers to pick up a little bit of a gold advantage, but I'm not sure if it'll amount to too much.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was just a couple hundred gold. Now we're over 1K gold, just about 1K net worth lead for Hammer's Velocity. So it's just slowly but surely continuous accumulation for this team.
Right, and with Zio picking up his Broken Myth, he's going to be doing some serious damage with those forward barrages. And once he hits level 8 with that maxed out Surrey Strike, he's going to be dancing around fights.
Oh, that's exactly how I love to describe, when you get that Sky, she is really just dancing around those fights. It's so hard to lock her down. I mean, it's going to take Goddessens with a very good afterburn at the right time, and everyone to follow up on top of that to get that kill. You know, we see them grouped up here in the lane, but will anything come of this? I think, you know, it's only if Phoenix Reborn overstepped himself. As I say that, Skojan, very defensive gauntlet coming down here. He felt what I was feeling, that they may decide to dive on him there. But that's going to be gauntlet down for a little while here.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good move coming out from Skojan. He was caught out of position, but he was able to prevent a kill from going down. If he did go down, it would have been another gold mine over to the side of Hammer's Velocity, or potentially even the turret. And especially with how little defense is being built on Godsins and starting all over, it would have been a very, very dangerous thing to defend a 2v3 under a turret.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes you have to I guess, you know, is that risk worth the reward? And once again, Aloha Veins taking the back camps of Phoenix Reborn.
Starting all over.
Starting all over. He is engaged on, and he will get killed. Aloha activating that Spectral Smite, and another kill going the way of Hammer's Velocity. Now 4-1 in the kill lead as we approach the 10-minute mark of this game.
Yeah, and that was just a little bit too greedy from the side of Phoenix Reborn as we have another engagement here.
Yeah, it looks like they want the turret, but they'll be happy to take a hero if given the chance. That's Attack of the Pack, let loose. Skojan, he has no gauntlet. He's going to go down. Another kill over to Aloha.
Yeah, this is exactly what Phoenix Reborn does not want to have happen. They cannot get caught out like this. They need to stall a little bit longer. And with those kills, Hammer's Velocity is going to take a huge advantage.
I mean, Zekin, though, it is an uphill battle. How do you stall this game out right now?
I felt like right there they did not need to go for the damage on Hammer's turret. They could have just waited out their turret, bided their time, took their own jungle, gone for invades when Hammer's Velocity invaded on Phoenix's side.
Right.
But instead they opted to go forward, push the lane, put themselves in a very, very poor position, and they got easily caught out.
Yeah, it's too easy to rotate into that position out of the jungle. So I do agree with you there. And let's see if they correct that mistake moving forward or if they continue to do the same thing. Right now, though, it's just starting all over, trying to get as much farm as he can. He needs to get these items up. He does have Broken Myth complete right now. I mean, we're getting into this point where you said 15 minutes into this game is really when this guy's going to come alive. Do you think he's on track?
I think he is definitely on track. However, it will still depend on how far ahead Hammer's Velocity can get. They're about 3,000 gold up right now, but if Scarf gets to that late game point, if he can use that Dragon's Breath with the Broken Myth and just a lot of crystal power behind him, he can still just completely melt the side of Hammer's Velocity. However, if he ever gets stunned up, there's so many options. They have the Death from Above, they have the From Hell's Heart, and even just having Cruel Stick on top of you with the weakness stacks can be very dangerous.
Oh, we're going to have the fight right now. Skojan with the gauntlet. It's starting all over, trying to reposition himself. He's eating a lot of damage. It's going to be Scarf to go down first. Now God of Sins. Can he get himself out? No, he can't. Way too much damage coming out of Hammer's Velocity, and Skojan's going to get eaten up as well. This is probably going to be the ace unless he does something godlike. He's going to go down. That's the ace for Hammer's Velocity, and Dienzio's prediction starting to come true as it's now 8-1 at the 12-minute mark of this game.
Yeah, let's take a little bit of a look at the replay of that fight. It was fantastically played from the side of Hammers. They had Veins, Dienzio, Aloha, and they were just doing so much work against the side of the Phoenix.
Yep.
Maybe not replay.
Well, yeah, I don't think that was the replay right there. It looks like but we'll get that going later. We have some good replay stuff to do later. But anyway, yeah, moving forward right now, Phoenix Reborn, it was a tough position, Zekent. Yeah. And now the position is a little bit tougher. We talked about them just continuing to try and farm. It's a bend don't break situation right now for them. Do you think they can hang on here?
It's going to be very, very difficult, especially with how aggressive Hammer's Velocity will be playing for the next couple minutes. We know Hammer's Velocity, they do have very good infusion timing. So
right.
Especially with Kraken coming up, we can probably expect them to pick up infusions fairly soon, especially around the 15-minute mark. And once they have that, it'll be very tough for Phoenix Reborn to engage on them.
I definitely agree with you, and with Veins on this Fortress, and this is one of the reasons that Fortress is considered such a strong pick for these teams. But he lets loose that Attack of the Pack. If they're in decent position at all, if Dienzio's there with damage, if Aloha's there with damage, it's just so incredibly powerful.
Right, and here we can see Phoenix Reborn getting caught out a little bit, starting all over, in a lot of danger. He might be getting caught out a little bit, but he will be able to back off.
Oh, well, he'll have to activate those boots to get himself back. But yeah, it's just a dangerous situation. These guys are going to have to be so careful in any rotations that they do.
Yeah, and right now we see Starring Oliver trying to poke down a little bit on Dienzio, but with the Eve of Harvest, he's not going to be taking too much damage, and he'll just be able to sustain himself.
And speaking of infusions, Dienzio had that level infusion popped right now, so Dienzio looking to fight and starting all over, eating a lot of damage right there. He does have the platform to get back and heal on. This is not Battle Royale, so get back there, heal up, starting all over, and then we'll see if we can take this fight.
Yeah, one thing to watch out for is let's see if Hammer's Velocity decides to go for the second minion mine. If they do take it, I would expect them to take it around the 14-45 mark, because then they would be able to easily take the Kraken and just control the side and control the lane very effectively.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. And at this point, they're just keeping Phoenix Reborn completely pinned into their base. The gold accumulation is just not happening right now for this team. They're being choked out. Aloha is taking their own jungle away, while Dienzio and Vanes just play prison guard.
Yeah, right now it's going to be very, very difficult for Phoenix Reborn to do absolutely anything, especially with just Aloha just swaying in the wings. Taking a 3-on-3 fight right now would almost be a death sentence for Phoenix Reborn.
I mean, the thing is they're going to get into a situation in which they have to fight, right? There's going to be that one last fight. It's just, will they take it at the right time? And do you think, with this Kraken coming up, is there any potential of a contest?
They can try. I mean, they are almost starting to buy some infusions. They have one, they have two, but will it be enough? It's very difficult to say, because Dienzio, he also picked double infuse up for himself, and with the Kraken spine, they need to do something right now.
All right, well, Kraken is out on the map, 15-minute mark of this game, and the pressure is on Phoenix Reborn to make the plays. Hammer's Velocity in a commanding lead. Skojan dips into the bush. That's attack of the pack out. Skojan's going to drop the gauntlet, but everybody's inside of it already. God of Sins will back out towards the east side, starting all over, stunned up right now. It looks like they've found that scarf. That is the key to victory for Hammer's Velocity. They found one, they found two, got three. That's the ace, and Hammer's Velocity just completely taking control of this game.
Yeah, and that was a fantastic fight coming out from the side of Hammer's Velocity. They were able to secure every single stun that I needed to. They were able to get the From Hell's Heart onto the Scarf as soon as he started channeling his Dragon's Breath. And in that fight, starting all over did absolutely nothing.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, that is just such a tough situation right now. Let's see if we have a replay of that last fight here. And you see that action breakdown. The gauntlet just a little bit late, but this From Hell's Heart over the wall onto starting all over, really securing this fight. A great job there by Aloha. And once that happened, the fight just really fell apart.
Yeah, that was a fantastic fight overall from the side of Hammer's Velocity. And with the infusions coming out from Dienzio and Aloha, it was going to be a very tough battle for Phoenix Reborn.
Well, I mean, Zekent, this is going to mean starting all over. If they're going to win a fight, he's going to be in the back of this fight. Massive stacks up. He's going to have to channel that ult and do massive damage across the board to all of these Hammer's Velocity teammates. I just don't know if it can be done.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, I don't actually think it's possible for Phoenix Reborn to win a fight unless Hammer's Velocity is just completely caught off guard. If God of Sins gets Dienzio into the middle of their team, if starting all over is already channeling and just burning him down, maybe they'll win, but even then, Aloha is an absolute menace. 5-0-5 on that Kroll. He's dangerous.
Yeah, and 5 more seconds until Gauntlet's going to be ready to use. I'm sure he would like to have it a little bit earlier, but Gauntlet is now up. Death from above, doing a little bit of zoning here out of Zio. And Skojan frontlining for his team. The Gauntlet's down. Once again, everybody's inside of it. It's attack of the pack let loose, and it looks like Phoenix Reborn on their last leg here. Aloha just frontlining for his team. Doesn't care at all. Scarf the fall. Skojan will go down next, and it looks like this will be Hammer's Velocity taking game 1.
Yeah, and Hammer's Velocity just coming out with a dominating game 1 performance, losing only a single kill to the side of Phoenix Reborn. Just absolutely flawless play coming out from them.
Yeah, it was really well done. The game was pretty even up to a point. I don't know where it started to fall apart around the 8-9 minute mark of the game. I feel Hammer's Velocity is starting to accrue that lead, but you see up on the stage right now, you know, Phoenix Reborn kind of thinking about, you know, what they could do differently maybe in the next game. But yeah, great job out of Hammer's Velocity.
Yeah, overall just a very solidly played game by the Hammer squad. And Phoenix, they were doing a lot of signs of life early on. They were able to keep it even. They were able to keep the game fairly in their hands. But the moment they pushed forward a little bit too far, it became a little bit too dangerous.
Yeah, it definitely was. And anything stand out to you as far as itemization here, Zika?
Nothing in particular. These are very standard builds coming out from both sides. I did like to see Aloha's build on Kroll. He actually went for a very early pair of Journey Boots. He picked up the Shiver Steel, he had a couple of attack speed items, and with the Journey Boots, he was able to stick onto almost anyone he wanted to.
Yeah, he definitely was. A great job by Aloha there at 507, 309 on Dienzio and Vanes 517. These guys got to be happy about that.
Yeah, some fantastic play coming out from them. And it's really interesting to see, with the first seed taking the game 1 off of the 8th seed in fairly dominating fashion, it I'm not sure how telling it is on how strong the Hammers squad is, but I would really like to see what happens next.
Yeah, I will as well. But to break it down a little bit more, we have Playoff Beard and our analyst ready at the desk.
All right, thank you very much, Humanist. Xingyi, such a small margin of error for Phoenix Reborn. One mistake, one turret, and just on from there.
Yeah, I think that level 2 fight in the jungle really shook their mentality when, you know, they were playing against a Cruel. They can really be quite aggressive at that point, but they were just like, we're going to back away from this point, and that's exactly what Hammer's Velocity wanted. You know, they've got Cruel, just wait for him to get a Shiver Seal. For Fortress, just wait for him to get his attack with the pack, and they can engage as much as they want.
Rome, we said that Aloha always performs on the big stage. First match, no different, 5-0-7 for him.
Yeah, and the thing coming to this match was I did have to favor the composition coming out of the side of Reborn more, but I felt like Velocity, they controlled the game. They knew exactly what to do, avoiding those early ganks coming out of the glaive, and they did everything right on their end. They just kept pushing it until it was a snowball.
Any other thoughts on the comps once you saw it play out?
Well, the thing about this was Reborn's comp, I did favor more. However, I expected them to have a composition that's more surprising, that's more unique going up against the meta.
All right, so we're nearing the start of the draft for match 2. In fact, it is underway. This is a best of 3. So Phoenix Reborn, their backs are against the wall, but this is double elimination through day 1 and 2. So their tournament lives aren't at stake, but certainly would love to get a win here, consulting with their support staff through the Phoenix organization. And now into the draft, no surprise that Fortress will not be seen again.
Yeah, well, Fortress played a very pivotal role in that fight. We saw when he had the Attack of the Pack released, they weren't doing much. You know, we just saw the gauntlet coming down, but that's not what you want. You know, so Fortress, very important.
All right, we'll see. The Adagio comes off the board. While we're waiting for the first pick, Rome, one thing Phoenix Reborn they struggled with was positioning and peeling in that first match. Couldn't really get enough peel, and the Scarf a little bit too out front at times.
Yeah, like what we did notice was Scarf farmed very well, but however, Glaive was stuck in that jungle. He had nothing that he could do, and he couldn't make those lane rotations that he should have.
Do you like the Finn pick?
You know, I think this does leave Scarf open for Hammer's Velocity because Scarf is the perfect counter for for Finn because you can easily stack up your Broken Myth stacks.
Yeah, lumbering brute that Finn is, very easy to get the stacks on him, and it's going to be a Glaive probably on Aloha, Rome.
Yeah, but you know, looking at this Finn really quick, I do feel like Phoenix Reborn is going to try and pull out a composition that might be more favorable for them this one, whereas Velocity won't have as much preparation as they should have.
And Rome, real quick, so the big dog swaps in already. This is the advantage they have with that sub, very experienced player. We've seen him before on this stage with other teams. Thoughts on him coming into the game?
Yeah, so most likely he will be playing up in that lane position with starting over in that jungle.
All right, well, that's very interesting. We'll wait and see for that. And as predicted, the Scarf comes out on the Velocity side.
Yeah, exactly. Hashtag Xingyi is right. Just kidding. So that's Celeste. You know, they're really going for the stun composition here, for the chaining the stuns with the Quibble and the Core Collapse.
All right, real quick, Rome. So a Krull, a Celeste.
They have a very strong composition. I do feel like they have to have more confidence in that early game. Last game, they were playing a little bit passively. And this is something they have to address right now.
On the day that the Celeste Tier 3 skin comes out, we will see Celeste played, even though it's 117 for the call of match 2. It's Humanist and Zcam.
All right, thank you, Playoff Beard. I'm Zcam. With me here is Humanist once again, and this is going to be interesting. The triple stun comp coming out from Reborn.
Yeah, I really like what they did here with the draft. I mean, you got the Finn, you got your Cruel, and across the board, though, we haven't seen Catherine too much, so I'm really curious to see what Hammer's Velocity can get done.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting watching the draft because I was thinking, is Hammer's Velocity going to take Phoenix Reborn's composition from last game? But they came out with the Catherine, so a little bit of a change right there.
A little bit of a change. But yeah, we've seen Vaynes play this Catherine before. A phenomenal Catherine player. Across the board, though, I really feel a wild card is the Celeste. I'm excited to see what Starting All Over can get done with this hero. But also at the same time, you know, Big Dog coming into this game does shake things up.
Most certainly it does, and right now we do have the Big Dog on that Cruel. He's going to be having to play a little bit more passively early game. With the Finn by his side, they're not exactly the greatest of level 2 duelists, but if they meet up with the enemy team, they could easily have Starting Over rotate down, though he is taking a lot of damage in that lane.
Yeah, he definitely is. Dienzio, aggressive as always in that lane, trying to get the advantage. And, you know, Zekent, how do you feel these teams scale against each other?
This is one's actually a little bit more interesting because I believe Phoenix Reborn, once again, they have the draft advantage. I felt like that a little bit in the last game too, where their team composition came out to be very, very solid. But right now, with the triple stun comp, especially up against the Scarf, if they can take down Scarf, once again, that will be the key to victory.
Yeah, definitely key to victory is get Dienzio out of the fight early and often. Let's see if they're able to do it. Right now, it's just a little bit of pressure in the lane. Each roamer has made their way up here, just helping secure the lane a little bit, and doing a fair enough job. Of course, Dienzio wants to continue to farm as much as possible, and you'll have the same thing from starting all over. Both junglers happy to be left to their own devices.
Yeah, and right now, what Phoenix Reborn is trying to do is get Cruel to level 6. Once he hits that level 6 mark, it'll be so dangerous for Dienzio to stay in that lane, because the From Hell's Heart can come out at any time, the big dog can just rush in, and Skojin, even if he is slow, you're not as slow as someone who is stunned.
You speak such truth, Zekent. But yeah, I mean, I want to see Aloha get the afterburn into block that from Hell's Heart. That would be the play I'm waiting for this game. But let's see if this happens. Right now, as you know, it seems both teams happy to just farm, get experience across the map. Do you expect that they will do this for another couple minutes, or would you expect a fight to break out?
Both of these compositions start very slowly, and especially with the Scarf, Lev, and Catherine, what they're trying to do is just peel for Dienzio and make sure that he can do as much damage as he can from the back line. But one thing to watch out for is that Finn, once he hits level 6, that Force the Cord can just completely ruin Hammer's Velocity's positioning.
Oh, it definitely can. It's such an important tool when you're playing Finn, but it can backfire on you if it's not done properly. So we'll have to keep our eyes on Skojin and see what he can get done on this Finn here.
Yeah, this is actually an interesting purchase coming out from Starting All Over. He actually went for the early travel boots. Not something you see very commonly. He has an energy bag on top of the tier 2 boots, and it's not going to give him too much combat utility, but if he does take those fights, he will be very, very maligned. He will be able to rotate very easily.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that. Big Dog caught out a little bit here. Aloha is in pursuit with his team a little bit farther behind, but Big Dog, he's in a tough position right now. The Wolves are closing in, so to speak, and it looks like Dienzio is going to go ahead and rotate back towards lane, but Vanes is here. Merciless Pursuit will stun him up. Big Dog getting some stacks onto Aloha. Aloha turns around. He wants blood. Who's it going to be? It's the Afterburn forward. Nice bait there. Big Dog
he goes down.
Oh!
Wow.
Very nice. Well, at the end, he does end up going down. A little surprising to me, but 1-1 as we approach the 4-minute mark of this game.
Yeah, Big Dog looking pretty pleased with himself on camera right there, and that was so well played. He was able to, he knew that Vanes was trying to come around to cut him off, but what he did was so smart. Oh, as we have another fight real quick.
And we do Dienzio. Dienzio, what are you doing? Dienzio is down as Phoenix Reborn just collapsed on his face. And was it worth it there, Zekan?
Yeah, I don't think that one was worth it. I think he might have gotten one of those jump back camps, but I'm pretty sure that Starting All Over got the other one.
Yeah, I mean, talking to these guys, I'm always curious to know what they define as worth. When you get back, do you take if you take the backs and you die, is that worth? Usually it's 3 if they can get it, but at that point, I'm sure Dienzio not happy.
Yeah, it was not the greatest trade-off there for him, but overall, it wasn't the worst in the world. But one thing that I think the Big Dog did extremely well in that previous engagement where he was chased into the side of Hammer's Velocity was he was able to juke around Vanes and make it very difficult for Vanes to judge which side he was actually deciding to go for.
Yeah, definitely. And let's see what they can continue to do moving forward. Minion Mine going to be secured up. Big Dog happy to get a little gold in his pocket there. And a small net worth lead starting to accrue for Phoenix Reborn.
Yeah, this could be a little bit dangerous for the side of Phoenix, though. Starting All Over might be getting caught up by Vanes just a little bit. Goes for a stun. Dienzio lands a Spitfire.
Oh, he does, but the core collapse onto Dienzio. Big Dog's here. Big Dog's in position. He smells blood. He wants Dienzio. He's got him. Big Dog, the wild card, coming into this game and getting work done.
Yeah, that was so well played from the side of Phoenix Reborn. Though another engagement might come out right here.
Woo, Aloha coming in from the south. Vane setting up the fight. Oh, from Hell's Heart. Swing and a miss right there from Big Dog, but it's okay. They'll go ahead and back off of that. But man, if that had connected, if they were able to find another kill, you would say this team's starting to snowball a little bit.
Yeah, Phoenix Reborn doing extremely well for themselves. They have a very strong composition come mid to late game. With the triple stun, they're easily able to lock down almost anyone that approaches them. And with these kills on the board, 3-2, they're putting the goal extremely even.
Yeah, it definitely is. And Zio, you know, he's falling a little bit behind Starting All Over in regards to farm, but not too much.
Yeah, it's not really a huge concern right now. It's about 10 CS down, but honestly, with the wave pushing toward his side, it's basically amounts to maybe like 3 or 4.
Yeah, definitely will agree with you on that one. And I'm curious to see how these fights are going to shape up as everyone starts to get their ultimate across the board. I feel like if Vanes can get in position, get a very nice blast tremor down, it can secure a wonderful fight for them.
Yeah, as long as he lands Blast Tremor on the key targets, mainly the Cruel and the Celeste. The Finn, you can kind of dodge around him a little bit, especially with that glaive. And another fight happens once again.
Big Dog, he found Vanes. It looked like he wanted him, but he'll back up as Aloha and Dienzio are there to defend their ally. And with that, Hammer's Velocity back up under the safety of their turret. And looks like Aloha back to the jungle himself, but a lot of pressure up in this lane.
Yeah, this is a little bit worrisome for the side of Hammers, because when we see Gojin on that Finn hit level 6, when those Force Accords come out, Hammer's Velocity is going to be in a lot of danger.
Right now, Big Dog hanging out in that bush, just waiting to get his perk up from Hell's Heart. He's gonna move in. Long range stun, eating him alive. Dienzio finding the kill though. It wasn't worth. Dienzio gonna back up real quickly there. It's Aloha into the lane. He found starting all over, chunking him down. Will they get the kill? Yes, they will. Skojin down as well. That's the ace. They had 1 second left for Big Dog to respawn, but Hammer's Velocity find that ace.
That was extremely surprising. The Big Dog going for the long-range engagement. He got a maximum duration stun on top of Vanes, who is honestly not the target you want to go for. I mean, a Catherine is probably going to survive anyway, but I'm not exactly sure how Dienzio picked up that kill. Big Dog might have done it a little bit too hard under that turret, or potentially proc his Spectral Smite on top of the Storm Guard.
Yeah, Big Dog was going hard in the paint. I hope he does not dial back the aggression. Of course, the stun landed onto Vanes. That's not the target you want, but it was a nice play. I like the aggression, and I would hope that they keep it up.
Yeah, I could definitely see them continue this aggression, and they do have the composition for it. If once they wait for from Hell's Heart to come up once again, in about 14 seconds, it'll be very, very dangerous for everyone on Hammer's Velocity. The stuns coming out from the Core Collapse, the From Hell's Heart, and just the Quibble and the Force Accord is going to be so dangerous.
Oh, it definitely will be. We have about 30 more seconds before we will have ult ready on Celeste as well. So maybe they'll pacify, wait for some of that burst damage potential. A little bit of scouting through the bushes done by starting all over. One of the great utility that come out of a Celeste.
Yeah, being able to just check bushes without really worrying too much, especially once she hits level 8, the long range of Heliogenesis is just absolutely fantastic for making sure you don't get caught.
Yeah, well, let's see if he can use that to effect and not get caught in this game. Vane's going to be popping out some flares, finding those scout traps, just trying to take control over the middle area of this jungle.
Yeah, right now, it does look like Hammer's Velocity is slowing down a little bit, but they're just trying to make sure they have vision control, make sure they clear out the vision of Phoenix Reborn, and if they can control this gold mine a little bit longer, they are easily going to get a little bit more of an advantage for themselves.
All right, well, I mean, we'll see what they want to do. They do have Force Accord ready to throw out, but Vane's hanging around Dienzio, just bodyguarding, making sure that Dienzio stays as safe as possible.
Yeah, right now, we still see Starting All Over is getting a pretty sizable minion lead. 87 to Dienzio 69. He's doing fantastically for himself.
Yeah, he really is. And, you know, these guys, they praised him a lot. They said this guy is an incredible player. He can play multiple heroes to a high level, but really, when he gets one of these comfort picks, he can get a lot of work done.
Yeah, and right now, it looks like Hammer's Velocity might be going for a little bit of a siege game right here. This could be dangerous, though, with the Finn on with that Force Accord.
All right, well, they're moving in aggressively. Hammer's Velocity have to know that swing and a miss. Skojin wishes he could have that one back, but he'll just have to wait about 50 more seconds at this time. It's going to be Hammer's Velocity hanging out in the bush. They move forward quite aggressively, and you see Skojin just getting chunked down. Now, that is the power of the Scarf right there.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting to see, because one of the tricks on Finn is to actually just throw out your Force Accord, expecting that to be blocked, expecting it to miss. And then before this reflex block comes back up, just engage with, you know, you have Cruel, you have Celeste, you have so many other options of engagement, especially when Finn reaches those higher levels and has more cooldown.
Yeah, well, we'll see as he gets those levels, gets that reduction in cooldown, if he's able to land some of those. But that was an unfortunate Force Accord there. At least, you know, they don't lose too much off of that. Now 3-5 in favor of Hammer's Velocity as far as kills go. But we're starting to get into this early mid-game portion. 10 minutes, 30 seconds into the game. It's going to be a gold mine secured for Hammer's Velocity. A little bit more net worth for them.
Yeah, about 2,000 gold is the lead. It's not huge, but 10 minutes, 11 minutes in, it's pretty sizable. And Hammer's Velocity is very good at running away with the lead.
Man, it seems like the moment that fight happened where Big Dog threw that long from Hell's Heart, everything just started to go the way of Hammer's Velocity the moment DNZO found that kill.
Yeah, one mistake can be absolutely detrimental against a team such of the caliber of Hammer's Velocity. And right now, you see Phoenix Reborn, they are a little bit wary. They are playing fairly passively, and that's not exactly what they need to do to win this game.
Oh, force the chords up. It's going to swing and a miss again. It was just an unfortunate prediction there out of Skojin, and that means another minute they're going to have to wait before they even have an option to throw that force to chord out, and Hammer's Velocity have to be happy about that one.
Yeah, and DNZO, he didn't even burn the reflex block. He knew it was missing. Like, that's so good. I can't even explain to you how good your reflexes have to be able to do that.
I mean, yes, you have to throw it. I mean, you have to activate it incredibly quickly. But DNZO just doesn't care. It's all calculated for this guy. And he's up in the lane. Both level 9, Celeste and our Scarf right here. But yeah, DNZO is a little bit behind still in farm, but it's not too much.
Yeah, and right now, Phoenix Reborn, they are still farming fairly well. They're probably a little bit more and more behind, but it's not too much of a concern as long as Cole gets that late game, as long as Celeste gets that late game, because they still have a lot of damage. They just need one very, very good force to chord, and they can completely turn this around. Oh, this might be... Oh, nope, never mind. Gets the recall off.
Easy recall right there. Starting all over knows what he's doing. He has ultimate ready. We have force to chord ready from Skojin as well. Let's see how these fights develop. Vanes finds the stun onto Big Dog, but no one really to follow. Spitfire's coming out of DNZO from range, just poking, doing what he can to get some stacks up on that Broken Myth. And if things look good, I'm sure they will go for the engage, but at this point, they're happy to just poke.
Yeah, it's actually a very intelligent play coming out from the side of Hammers. They are just slowly playing the game, making sure that they're biding time, making sure they're getting more gold than the side of Phoenix Reborn. And when they hit their power specs, when the Kraken spawns, when they're able to pick up those infusions, it's going to be so hard for Phoenix Reborn to do anything against them.
Oh my goodness, and you know, we talk about infusions right now. I would expect in the next minute for some to come out. Starting all over, reflex blocks out, but he is just caught out there. Did not know where Hammer's Velocity were coming from, and an easy kill going over to Hammers.
Yeah, that was a really good presence of mind of Vanes. He knew that starting all over, he had that reflex block. You saw Aloha, he went for the afterburn, he got blocked. And then Vanes was just like, I'm gonna wait a second with my Merciless Pursuit on, and then stun you, and it was guaranteed kill.
Yeah, just way too easy at that point. He was very far forward. Aloha is gonna use that afterburn to reposition himself. Doesn't like the turret punching him in the face there. And it looks like Phoenix Reborn are gonna keep this turret up for just another minute longer. We're 13 minutes, 30 seconds into this game, and right now, as Hammers move towards the shop, you gotta imagine they might be picking up some infusion soon.
Yeah, they have a pretty sizable amount of gold each of their members. DNZO sitting on about 600, we have Vane sitting on about 1,000, and Aloha also on 1,000, so they can easily go for a double infusion on almost all of their members.
Yeah, they definitely can. And Aloha is actually pretty scary right now with the Sorrow Blade, the Bone Saw. You know, he can get a lot of work done, and you have to respect the glaive, and you cannot forget about the Scarf at the same time. It's a very dangerous position to be in.
Yeah, DNZO, as long as he's able to stay at that far range and just poke, he'll be completely fine. It'll be very difficult for Phoenix to engage on him, especially unless they can land that Force Accord. It's so key that Skojin is able to land one on the key members of Hammer's Velocity. They can't land on Aloha, they can't land on Vans. They have to get DNZO.
Yeah, they really do, and that's the hardest part, honestly, for Big Dog, and he found that out a few minutes ago when things started to go in the favor of Hammer's Velocity. Phoenix Reborn had the advantage at that point. It's just so tough to get that from Hell's Heart in. Well, Bane's doing an incredible job body blocking for his team, and Aloha will do the same if needed. You see the flares come out, getting a little vision down, and the chase is on. Do they want to start the fight? Skojin, a very aggressive.
Ooh.
Oh, another swing and a miss. DNZO, he's in the back line, but Big Dog, he's searching for him. Baines is there to protect his ally. Boots activated from DNZO to get in position. Big Dog stunning up Baines, starting all over. He needs to get back, but he can't do it. He goes down. Now the Dragon's Breath going to come out right here, just melting Phoenix Reborn, and it looks like with Skojin going down, that's going to be the ace for Hammer's Velocity at, may we say, 15 minutes into the game, exactly when the Kraken comes out.
Yeah, fantastically played by Hammer's Velocity once again. They're so good at these team fights. And let's take a quick look at our replay of that fight. It was just very well played by Velocity.
Oh yeah, it really was. And you know, once you see that force to chord missed and everybody's in a good position, it's so easy to chase right there. Aloha just locked right onto Celeste, starting all over, couldn't do much. And you see DNZO did a phenomenal job to just dance around Big Dog there. Vanes, he was just right on point protecting DNZO, and a great job out of Velocity there.
Yeah, and with that fight comes the Kraken, just Hammer's Velocity, making sure they take every single objective on the map and giving nothing over to Phoenix.
take everything, give nothing. Hammers Velocity getting it done here. We're 16 minutes into this game. And how much would you expect they get out of this? Are they going? Will Phoenix Reborn still have a Crystal Vein at the end of this push?
Honestly, I think this could very well be game unless they go for a very good engagement right now. And once again, Force Cord misses.
Yeah, Force the Cord's going to pull in Veins. That's not really the target you want. Dienzio winds up that ult from range, starting all over the target, and he goes down. It looks like this could be the end of the series here as Hammers Velocity get another ace, march down, and they will claim the base of Phoenix Reborn for their own. Hammers Velocity 2-0 in this series.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say this is a little bit unexpected because Hammers Velocity coming in extremely strong from the past 2 qualifiers. They've been doing so well for themselves, and you can see they're just incredibly happy to take this win.
Yeah, everybody really happy. Dienzio, take a drink of water, buddy. You earned it. And there you go. Crystal Vein destroyed. The Veins is going to hang around happily on that Catherine. And yeah, look at these guys. I mean, we expected Velocity to come out strong in this tournament, but that was quite impressive.
Yeah, however, that does put Phoenix Reborn down into the loser side of the bracket, and they were honestly very solid. Their early game was very, very good. They were able to get leads multiple times, but they just weren't able to close it out. They weren't able to clutch it out. And I would like to see how they do it next time.
Yeah, definitely. I think a phenomenal team. I'd like to see what Phoenix Reborn can get done in that bracket. And if anyone goes to sleep on that team, they will take the win away from them. But, you know, when we look at that game, was there anything really that stood out as surprising to you?
Honestly, it was played very well by both sides until, you know, that one engagement. Cruel threw out the sword. He went in for a long-range engage, and it just didn't quite work out. If that went a little bit better, this could have been a completely different game.
I honestly was so surprised when Big Dog went down after that long-range stun. I thought he completely had secured the fight for his team. But as you see, items are up on the board right now. It was all Velocity here.
Yeah, Velocity doing extremely well for themselves with multiple tier 3 items. I really like the Shiver still coming out from Veins. Able to slow that Cruel, able to slow Finn even more than he normally is, and being able to make sure that they are able to stay locked on to starting all over so easily.
Slower than you already are feels bad, man. Sorry, Finn. All right, well, with that, I think we have some more analysis from Playoff Beard and the analysts at the desk, so we'll go ahead and throw it back over to those guys.
All right, thank you very much, Humanist. So another day at the office for Hammers Velocity. They just got the job done. They had to be patient in that match room, but eventually took control.
Yeah, no, they were struggling a little bit in that early game, but eventually everything just started falling into place. They knew exactly when their power specs were going to hit. And just looking at Veins playing like those last couple team fights, he knew exactly what to do, making sure that he maneuvered himself around, always staying around Dienzio.
Yeah, so Xingyi, Big Dog came in, was playing with confidence, kind of some signs of life there, but couldn't quite pull it all together.
So they started off really well, but Catherine in the early stages, she's really vulnerable. So I think that's why they were able to take advantage of that. But I think when it comes down to those very coordinated team fights, I think Hammers Velocity just come out on top. And I think their synergy and experience together just kind of trumps that of Phoenix Reborn.
Yeah, so Phoenix Reborn, they're not out of the tournament. They go down into the elimination bracket. They will not be able to lose again if they want to remain alive. But looking ahead now for Hammers Velocity, anything that you notice that they can carry on into the future games?
No, so far, like, they're playing really strong. I do feel like the team is very coordinated. They know exactly what to do during the team fights, and that's what's really going to count for the next 2 days.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Xingyi, let's find out who is your MVP for this series.
It's Aloha.
Yeah.
You know, we had Dienzio as our player to watch, but Aloha. So they were focusing so much on trying to take Dienzio down. They just did not respect the damage output that was coming out from Aloha. He was doing a fantastic job of peeling for them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just overall, this team really with superior positioning throughout both matches. Now, as we look ahead here, there's a lot of action to come. Rome, I would say what happened in this first one is kind of what we expected. I mean, it was the #1 seed against the #8, and especially when we get into the second half of the day, I think we're going to see some fireworks and some very, very close games.
No, I think the fireworks are going to actually start right now. With the next match coming up, it's actually going to be very close and very intense.
You really think so? So, I mean,
Of
there are
course
two
I think
different
so.
camps. There are two different camps. Some that think that Phoenix Rain might have a dominant performance, and others that say if you sleep on Xenotech El Riesgo in and Uni, you're going to pay for it. So I want to mention, if you're not on Twitter right now, if you're not using hashtag Vainglory Live as a second screen while you're watching these matches, you're missing out on a chance to win an iPad and just participating in that conversation. So make sure that you are going on Twitter using hashtag Vainglory Live. So we have so much more action to come today. We're going to take a very short break, and when we come back, it is the 4 seed Phoenix Reign, formerly known as Excrucio, against the number 5 seed Noble Esports. Xenotech finally with that moment on the big stage. It's going to be a lot of fun. Don't go anywhere.